places across North America and learn a lot and see what's going on in our industry. So I'm very, very pleased to be with you all today. And it was nice to meet some of you at the brief conference we did have in West Palm Beach, and Patty did an outstanding job given what we had to deal with. And if I didn't meet you, then I certainly am glad you've joined us today for my presentation. So what I wanted to talk to you about was some things that I found in my 20-year career that would hopefully help all of you in growing your business. So, as I said, I'm a fellow B&B owner. My husband and I own a bed and breakfast an hour west of Toronto, Ontario. It's called Walker Bray House and Weddings. And so I'm a little bit different than the rest of you. I have a wedding venue that seats up to 50 people for intimate weddings, and I only have one deluxe suite, the bridal suite. So I'm a little bit different in the sense of I have mostly weddings, a little bit of bed and breakfast, but mostly weddings at my bed and breakfast. Because as you know, you don't get rich on having one suite. So that becomes a lifestyle bed and breakfast owner, not a real serious business owner. So I turned it around and did the opposite. But anyway, have a look there at some point. It's Walker Bray. See on my it's walkerbray.ca, and you guys can see my bed and breakfast later on. So what I wanted to do is start at the very, very basics. And I find that bed and breakfast owners are really they're hardworking people and with their nose to the grindstone. Because I don't know too many industries that the owner is also the bed maker, the breakfast maker, and the toilet cleaner and the gardener. And as CEO of your company, I don't know any other CEOs that would be doing that for their company. So I call you the all-encompassing CEO. So sometimes it's really hard to gauge where you're at or what you're doing because your nose is so close to the grindstone every day, making sure the ship is clean and the breakfast is served. And if you're lucky enough to have staff, you got to manage those people as well. So simple things like when people call you, do you have a nice saying that makes people glad that they called you? You know, good morning, thank you for calling the Smith Inn. This is Mary. How may I help you? Just some niceties like that. And of course, it's always the way you say it too, because that's important. You don't want to be answering the phone going, ah, the Smith Inn, it's Mary. You know, that makes it sound like they've interrupted you and it's not very welcoming. So you have to gauge how warm and enthusiastic is it. And even though you may know how to answer the phone properly, it doesn't mean everybody else under your roof does. So make sure that they are all pleasant and you're all on the same page. And if you sound friendly or glad they called or eager to please, you know what? Chances are they're going to stay with you because they feel that from you over the phone. And the nice thing we have over, I'm going to mention Airbnb quite a few times in our presentation today, but people on Airbnb don't get to talk initially. And I recently stayed at an Airbnb place last month because I just wanted to know about the process and the experience. And I never spoke to my host on the phone at all. It was all done by email or texting. So, and some people like that, but honestly, when the phone rings, it rings for a reason. Somebody really wants to talk to you. So just remember that. So that's me, like the size of that phone. Isn't that hilarious? So just as the um, importance of the call at the beginning, you can leave the caller thinking you were most polite and thankful they called, even if you didn't get the sale. And that's happened to me a few times. People called wanting to stay in the vicinity because of believe it or not, I think it's called, what is it called? Martial arts fighting or something like that. Well, martial arts fighting and bed and breakfast don't really go in the same sentence, but I was very polite to him, the gentleman that called, and he said, you know, I don't think I'm going to stay with you. You're over our budget, but you know what? If I ever go to go on away on a weekend with my wife, I'd really like to come stay with you. You were so nice. And you know what? That's all that mattered. And he'll certainly tell 10 people about me, and hopefully that'll make the world go around. So of course, every phone call comes to an end. It's been a pleasure to speak with you today. Have a fantastic day. Thank you for taking the time to call because you know your phone rings if you have a reservation service, which most people do. Um, and you know, I think that it's always good to say thank you for taking the time to call me because the phone maybe rings. I'm just gauging, but I would probably say my phone rings 20% as opposed to 80% I get with online inquiries. So it's nice to chat. Thanks for calling. If we can help further, please let us know. I always like to say that in my emails and on the phone and sound very friendly and thankful. My mother had this great saying growing up, you know, good manners are free, but it's amazing how few people use them. So just keep that in mind. And look at him today. Holy moly. So if you get the booking, great job. Polite makes it right. You can also say words like, we look forward to welcoming you, we look forward to hosting you, and you always leave the door open. If you have any questions, please call or email us, and we look forward to seeing you, you know, in January, whenever it is, for your 2 night stay. And and I don't think Donald Trump says that to his hotel guests, so you've got one leg up already. Anyway, um, so the arrival is just as important, and it's almost like the first date, the first time you get to meet these people. And the best thing about our industry is we love to have repeat customer. And if we had everybody that ever stayed with us, we our cup would be running over, and we'd be into 2 years out in constant reservations. So just remember about the arrival. It's like your first impression and your first date. So hopefully your hair's brushed nicely and you're wearing a nice outfit, but on your first date. But at check-in, what to offer your guests? A warm welcome, of course. If you remember, hopefully, I'm bad at names, but hopefully you'll know who's checking in and introduce yourself. If you're able to offer to carry their bags to their rooms or help them with things from their car. And I always like to have a welcome drink in their fridge in their room. I may not, because our access to our suites from the outside, they don't come through my house, they have their own entrance. I like things set up in their suite already. So I have bottles of water, a couple of sodas, or you even have a specialty beverage of your choice, and even a welcome snack. And I love it that when there's like a little, you know, cheese and crackers, even a couple little bags of chips, something thoughtful that if I'm, you know, really tired or it's been a long drive, it's just something that people do. And I'll tell you, um, Airbnb is not known for their welcome drinks and their welcomes, and you're lucky to get checked in by an actual owner. Quite often they'll leave the key under the mat or whatever. So you've got this wonderful first impression, and if you look at the picture there, it's even just strawberries and lemon, and it's absolutely lovely. So you know, even something like that in the room, how beautifully pictured is that, right? So um, So now you've got them. They're staying overnight at your bed and breakfast. And what does your B&B look like? I really sometimes have to have a friend over or ask somebody who travels a lot to the industry because sometimes I doubt myself. And the money that you're charging, would you stay at your own inn? I think that's a really important question you're asking. And and hopefully the answer is yes. And are they getting good value? What kind of value are you throwing in? I always hate to lower the price of the stay, but and which I hate doing, and I hate negotiating. That the price is the price is because guess what? The hydro company doesn't give me a discount for your stay because it's a Wednesday, and nor does the nor do my bank for the mortgage that I'm paying. They don't give me a discount because you're staying on a Wednesday. So all my expenses are the same no matter what day you stay on. But I think of value added, and that's with the snacks and of course the arrival. If you've got an what is it, iPhone station, you know, lovely channels, cable, the movie channels, things like that are all valued, and you should point those things out to your guests because those are things that you may take for granted. But I'll tell you, somebody down the street or the next town over hasn't bothered, and neither is Airbnb. So um, always bring in a friend and they'll give you an honest answer, or you might even want to be brave enough and ask your guests for their thoughts. Ask for feedback and always, always that's your gauge to saying whether you are right on the money or not. So this is a recent inn I've stayed at, and I wanted to share this to you. And I know I went through this really quickly when I was in Florida during the hurricane. Just a second, here we go. Doors slamming in my office. Can you imagine? Anyway, so this is an inn in Ontario, about 2.5 hours from me, and they charge a good amount of money for an overnight. And I think they do the modified American plan, which is breakfast and dinner. And look at the hideous art in my room. And I'm telling you, if any of you have that, I want you to take it off the wall and throw it out the window right now. That picture on your left is something probably from the late 70s. The TV is definitely in the 80s. And I didn't so mind much about the TV because it's vintage and there was an AM FM radio in it. It was kind of fun. And our kids were with us and it was kind of nostalgic. But please, the paint by number painting underneath that TV, yeah, throw that in your fireplace. That'll give you good kindling. So, and look at that off-colored bed skirt that was on my bed. And this lady complained to me. I've never had an argument in 20 years with an innkeeper about their story. They were on our cover a couple issues ago at Inns magazine. That's the other hat I wear. Of course, I told you about that at the beginning. But I've never in 20 years had an argument with somebody. She was upset because I didn't write about the furnishings and decor. And I said, nobody wants to be told their baby's ugly, but at the same time, I cannot justify and lie to people. What she's had for the last 20 years is still there 20 years later. Pink wing chairs with doilies on them. And again, you should add those to the burn pile as well. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Yeah, that was my toilet. Wooden toilet seats. Can you imagine? It had a big crack in it. And the answer I got back from her, well, we've had lots of people stay in that room and no one's ever complained. And I thought, you must have had people that were either not seeing well or perhaps people not of a caring matter. But anyway, there you go. Isn't that something? So let's bring something into here and now. And I want to talk to you about, I make fun of it and I say the word tchotchkes, and it's having way, way too many tchotchkes at your inn. And I talk about people that have inherited furniture and things that don't belong, and you really should clean it out. And just because you have the biggest house or the biggest building in your family doesn't mean you should fill it with all sorts of garbage. Honestly, I did stay once at a bed and breakfast, and I don't know whether I found out I suffer from sensory overload, but there were nice things, don't get me wrong, but it was that lodge look, and it was stuff every inch all over the place. And honestly, I was really, really bothered by it. People are paying for a restful getaway. People come to you because they want to get away from whatever they're getting away from, and you can't clutter up their space. So have a nice look at these pictures. These next few pictures are complimentary from my friend, photographer Elizabeth Campbell. So she's got some great ideas on her site, elizabethcampbell.com. There's elizabethcampbellphotography.com. Anyway, you can Google it. Look at that. Now that by far is not the most beautiful room you've ever seen. The bed is kind of shoved over in a funny corner. But look at clean and simple. White, clean and simple, with a duvet hanging there or laying there and one red pillow across from it. It's very soothing, very clean. There's some books in the right-hand lower corner and a nice chair to sit in. So, just really go through your rooms and see if you can declutter, rearrange, even, like, look at, she's obviously got the sheets made. I don't even think she might even have a bedspread on that bed. They might have taken it right down to the sheets and just had the duvet and a duvet cover. And how simple and elegant is that? And again, this is the other shot of that other room. It's uncomplicated. If you've got a fireplace, keep it simple. They've put the TV above it. They haven't junked it all up. I'm sure those white curtains you could get at IKEA. It's got certain elements. There's a lovely lamp on the bureau to your right-hand side. And like I said, they've used white a lot in this room, and they've got just kind of a sisal carpet on the floor, on the wood floor. So it's not cluttered at all. And just a few, if you see my cursor there, just a few clean little buds in a vase. And like I said, very, very simple. And again, I'm using a lot of the white and simple. That it's obviously a room from the same inn and just a different color. Uh, but I love the blanket draped over the chair, and I thought that was a really, really nice touch. They don't even have curtains on the windows, some of the windows. And like I said, it's a very clean room, and I would feel very, very peaceful in this room because I'm not living in somebody else's life. This room has definitely been set up as a guest room with thoughtfulness, and there's room to put your own things. And like I said, very clean and not overloaded at all. I want to talk to you about this room. It's not expensive, but it looks like $1 million. So let's break this up. These chairs here are probably from something like an IKEA. They've got some lovely colored cushions on it. This table is just a white laminate, and so is the coffee table. It's a laminate of some sort. A plastic tray, tea and coffee out. You've got some nicely upholstered chairs and some pillows. Honestly, this room doesn't look, the elements don't look expensive at all, but the way they've been put together, clean and simple, they make them look like $1 million. There's no carpets over the floor. There's just this little sisal carpet for the sitting area. And you've got two chairs over here. It looks like the front desk is right over here. It's in the lobby, right next to the stairs, so it's not, sticking out in the room. And this is very, very inviting, obviously, for people to come and sit and have their morning or afternoon coffee, tea, and just hang out. The eating area or the breakfast room is through these double doors, and again, very, very simple. And they've kept all the knickknacks and all the yahtzee out of the way and allowing their guests to breathe and really settle in. You have to decide whether you're going to be a display unit for all your life's collection or actually let people come and enjoy your space and lessen your collection so that there's a nice balance, a nice harmony. And I find that that's probably the one thing in our industry is we get overloaded with stuff because, oh, you've got room for it, or you've got the biggest house, so you should take grandma's antique settee and all that stuff. I remember going to visit an inn in Florida and went to a beautiful property. It was white outside, just the epitome of what I thought a Florida bed and breakfast should look like. Walked in the lobby, and lo and behold, there's an antique settee in the middle of it all with a matching love seat amongst this white wicker furniture. And I immediately knew that they had probably inherited that settee and felt obligated to have it sitting in their lobby. And it really should not have been there. It didn't match what their look was or what their feeling was they're trying to get across. So just wanted to share that. So we've all been to a bed and breakfast, and this is what bed and breakfasts were all about 20 years ago or 25 years ago. Lots of busy wallpaper, and the New England look is famous for this, but it's all over the country. Busy wallpaper. Wallpaper has been on a downsize for the last few years. It is coming back, but however, I would imagine that this room has been wallpapered like this for a while. But what I like about it was, again, way more traditional, but if you notice the linens are just the soft green and the soft white, and they're not competing against the wallpaper. The wallpaper actually is okay to be there. You've got two simple prints here on the mantle of the fireplace, and you've got a lamp, you've got two lamps, you've got just a little greenery happening. There's room for my book, there's room for my magazines, there's room for my glasses, and you've got a chair in the corner. This room is balanced, and I think honestly, when you come in and you don't feel sensory overload, like even though the wallpaper is busy, there's a lovely balance to it that people would like. So I did mention before about, did you inherit some furniture? I mean, I'm the only daughter, and believe me, my collection is pretty vast. But I kind of keep it tamed up in cabinets and out of the way, some of it. And of course, the best thing I could do when I inherited a whack of dishes and crystal, I use that in my wedding business. That's a great way to use it. And as bed and breakfast owners, you can have some of the nicest dishes and nicest flatware and silverware and use it. Don't be afraid to use it because I'm always saying, the day I croak, my daughters are going to be taking a big load to the Salvation Army and giving all that stuff that I love away because they won't like it. So, if you've got it, use it and really enjoy it. And I mean, I've broken the odd plate with it. Our dishwashers during the weddings have broken the odd plate and stuff, but you know what? I'd rather have somebody enjoy it rather than it sit in a closet and let somebody else decide about its future after I'm long gone. And I just had this thing at the bottom, about those pictures I mentioned about that in. Burn it. Seriously, just get rid of that stuff. I mean, there's a point of being kind to your family. There's a point of really sacrificing what you're trying to do. You're selling heads and beds and selling a lovely experience. So you really have to make a decision about whether it's more important to have that or to keep your guests happy. So, um, and it's always nice to have a perfect ending when you sell people to thank them in person with a follow up. If the innkeeper is around that morning or the manager, do say thank you for staying with us. It really means a lot when somebody knows that you're appreciative of the effort they made to get to you. And just remember, Airbnb is not walking around thanking people for staying with them. Trust me. And a lot of you have a reservation system that sends an automatic follow-up email. The best opportunity to send with your thank you is a special to redeem in your off season. If you do have an off season, take full advantage of it. And I always think that offer can be transferred to any of their friends if they can't come back. So, and that way you're getting new business. And I mean, you can do that perfect ending as a thank you, between, January 2nd and March 31st, we offer you, 20% off your room or, whatever it is. And I know all of you are in Florida, so that's your busy season, but maybe I don't know what your off season is maybe June, July, or August. I'm not sure. Maybe you're lucky enough not to have an off season, but we certainly do here in Canada. But ours is like November and April, where I call it mud season. It's very muddy up here. However, but that can be transferred to any other friends. And what I should be doing with my weddings is sending a thank you, and in my off season, because I really don't have weddings from January to April 30th. This year I do have one at the end of April. Our season's starting early, and offer people, a very nice special as well. And I'm going to be starting to do that. So I think that's important to always be in touch with your guests. So make notes of some special things you can add to your guest stay without lowering the cost. We talked about that in the beginning. That nice type out there. See that? What a good editor I am. Special things you CN. So it meant can add to guests without lowering the cost of your stay. The value added, like the cookies and goodies upon arrival. You guys are in such a lovely climate. You probably got flowers growing in the garden that aren't expensive. You can put them in a vase, or maybe there's a grocery place not too far that do grow flower or do have flowers that aren't too expensive. And I'm sure a lot of you know of the association Relais and Chateau, which are the finest inns of the world. I'm a big fan. It's like traveling to Europe. I mean, any hotel, any educational institute that teaches hotel management, Relais and Chateau are probably one of the most well experienced places to work. There's one about 20 minutes from my house called Langdon Hall. And even though I'm a very friendly person, I always try to be very professional and trying to do the best, even though I don't charge anywhere near Langdon Hall's prices. I still try to aspire to give people great service and the lovely things at my bed and breakfast. Nice linens, beautiful cutlery and glassware and things. I'm a big collector of crystal and cornflower crystal and whatnot. I always use those things at breakfast because I I think that so many people have never dined off of things like that, and it's just kind of really cool if people haven't. And if they have, then they'll have a bit of a moment that they'll remember, oh yes, my aunt had these and we used to, drink out of them or whatever. So try and give a unique experience and always try to aspire to be really polite, very good service, and do nice things for your guests. If someone's sitting in that lobby that we saw with the blue furniture, would you like a glass of lemonade? Would you like a bottle of water? Things like that make somebody just, it just really gives you a leg up of somebody across the street. So I think one of the things as owners of our business is that we never go out. We never have time. We're always running around like the shoemaker with the shoeless children. We're always running around looking after our business. We never get to go out and see what our competition's doing. So I recommend that rather being tied to your business 365 days a year, you do have to go out, and I call it research and development, where you need to go out and stay at another B&B. You can, search on Google who's somebody that you would like to go out and observe, stay overnight, and just compare yourself and see what they're doing. And then if you think you're above their level, great. And if you don't think you are, then you need to start asking questions and really observe what they're doing. So that's what I call it: learn, observe, and improve. And I always recommend that, you're all part of the Florida Bed and Breakfast Association, which is great. I also do some work for AIHP, and that's a national organization. And I just think any chance you have to learn and network with others, it's so great. And sometimes in this business, you can also swap. You could say, okay, I'm going to, if you met somebody at an association meeting, I'd like to come stay with you for 2 days, and you can come and stay with me for 2 days, and just, kind of compare notes. I think it's an absolutely great opportunity to learn. And there's no, other than, if you're aspiring bed and breakfast owners, there's places you can go and learn about the bed and breakfast industry. But as current owners, there's no school or no college that we take except for annual conferences, like the summit that's happening in California, and I know PIES is happening in Missouri. Those are the opportunities you get to go and learn as a current member. But other than that, that's it. There's no other, colleges that teach things from across the country. So I really encourage you to go learn and be awesome and ahead of your game. And if you're the best at doing what you're doing, then you know what? Even if you're second best, third best, that's still better than the other 97% in your area that are doing it. So my hat's off to you. So I want to take this opportunity, we've been about half an hour, to thank you for being with me. And like I said, I'm the editor of INS Magazine, so I think one of the greatest things in my career is being able to tell everyone's story. And that has been the biggest privilege of my career, and also to learn and people share with me and whatnot. So I'm always encouraging people to share and grow and learn. And if anybody needs to ask any questions or get in touch with me, it's Mary at insmagazine.com. And that's Mary at innsmagazine.com. And I'd be happy to, talk to you further, or if you have anything you want to share with me, absolutely. But thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you learned something. I hope the weather's nice and sunny in Florida today. It's it's a bit cloudy here in Ontario, but it's no snow, and that's what I'm happy about. So I wish you all a great day. And Patty, if you're still there.
Yeah, I just wanted to say if someone has a question now, they can type it in and we could answer that.
Mm.
I mean, there's a spot on their recording that they could type in a question if that's something someone had specific for you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Do you see any questions on your side? I can't click into the to the
No
I
question.
can't click, no
Well, Linda
questions.
says no questions, but I'm glad you're on it, Linda.
Anyway, but yeah, and I think as bed and breakfast owners, you work so hard, you work long, long days that everyone needs to go out and have what I call research and development, go and experience other people's inns and bed and breakfast, plus have a rest, a well-deserved rest all at once. So anyway, thanks Patty for having me. That was so great. I enjoyed doing this with you today. And like I said, if anyone needs to follow up with me, it's Mary at insmagazine.com. Okay?
All right. Thanks, Mary. Have a good day.
Thanks. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye bye.